What's good, fam? Tonight I went over to my cousin's apartment for like a cookout, and I had a good time. Uh, like everybody that he invited came, so it was probably there were probably like 8, 10 people there. We were hanging out outside, so it was like social distancing, whatever. But most of the people there were not really concerned anyway. I uh, I really am kind of excited that I got to go out and hang out with my cousin. He's like my best friend in Nashville. Like somebody that I is in like the internet community that I fuck with the most. And most of those people live in like Chattanooga or like right outside of Chattanooga in Georgia. But Charlie invited me into that little community, into that group, and my cousin invited me into that group. And, some of my best friends are from that group. At least Togi. Togi, is from that group. And he's like my best friend. But yeah, man, when I was over at my cousin's house, I was realizing how long it had been since I'd been in like a social situation like that, like a party. It was pretty much like a party. It was like a cookout, like a dinner party. And like I didn't really at first I didn't really feel like I fit in with his friends. I definitely I felt I'm close enough with my cousin, like, and I am comfortable around him enough that I felt like accepted. I wasn't like nervous or I didn't feel like bad about myself or whatever. But I did feel kind of uncomfortable, like I didn't really fit in with his friends. Not that I really fit in with many people at all, you know what I'm saying? But by the end of the night, I did end up kind of feeling like I had made a few friends, and, I did enjoy that experience. It was actually a lot of fun. Most of the people that were there are kind of in a similar political mindset as I am. So it was nice to kind of have sit and talk with people and have your feelings validated. Of course, it's always nice to have your feelings validated, but it was nice just to sit and talk to people. I don't ever do that. I pretty much am just always at home with my dogs, and that's great. I love my dogs. I love spending time with my babies. But sometimes it's nice to have uh, like a person to talk to. Punky, he's an intellectual, but he's not quite on the same level, I would say. But yeah, I took a Lyft over there, and my Lyft driver on the way home was a pretty interesting guy. He was listening to Ben Shapiro when I got in the car, and of course I had to ask him if he was a big Ben Shapiro fan, because I'm not a big Ben Shapiro fan. And he said, so he's kind of a Ben Shapiro fan. He respects that he's a conservative that is willing to speak out against Trump when Trump does stuff that is bad. And that's actually something that I also respect Ben Shapiro for. It's really hard for me to say that I respect Ben Shapiro. But he will say when Trump is doing some stupid shit. In the past, though, he has said some shit that I thought Trump was like Not really. I didn't really think it was so fucked up. And he was like, "Oh my god, can you believe Trump did this?" But you gotta learn to live and let live. But yeah, he said he's not a huge Ben Shapiro fan. I said, yeah, I'm not a big Ben Shapiro fan, but I am a conservative. I am pretty conservative. And I just said, Ben Shapiro is pretty much a warmonger in my opinion, and I just feel like he gives the most obvious answers to cultural topics, cultural questions. In this question and answer portions in the speeches that he gives at college campuses and stuff, it's usually about cultural stuff like trans stuff, or you know what I'm saying. And he gives the most obvious answers that but the fact that he's willing to just say something that is so obvious, like there are two genders, is like why so many people, it's what gets people hooked to Ben Shapiro. You know what I'm saying? That he's willing to speak those you know very obvious truths, and then people start to trust him, and then he and then people go and die for Israel. But uh you know I really did like my Lyft driver though. He seemed very open-minded. Like I could tell that he's kind of on the same wavelength that I'm on. In a situation like that where you're driving somebody professionally or working for someone, it makes it so you're not as capable of speaking your if you have an unpopular opinion, you're going to be far less likely to speak that opinion if you are in a professional setting. You know what I mean? That just makes sense. That makes sense to me. And I was really appreciative of the fact that dude seemed to give very genuine answers to everything that I was saying. And he would say something that I would disagree with, and I would come back to him. I would say, what about this?" And while we would maybe not completely agree at the end of our conversation, I think that I think we were able to compromise to an extent that we understood where each other came from and gave each other things to consider. And that's something that I think is missing in our culture now. You can't talk to people. If you say something that someone even like faintly disagrees with, if you say something to someone that is, that they even disagree with a little bit, they can become so offended over the stupidest things, the dumbest things. And you know it's good to see people who are still able to have conversations, who are still willing to face things that they may not agree with. And I will admit that I'm kind of bad about starting those confrontations. I'm bad about voicing my opinion when it may not be welcomed. But I don't think any of my opinions are so I don't think any of them are so I don't see why anyone would not welcome my opinion. You know what I mean? I'm not a hateful person. I love everybody. I'm fairly informed, you know what I'm saying? I have good insights, I think. I don't understand why a lot of people respond to me so negatively. Maybe you guys could let me know what my deal is. If you have some type of insight into my why I turn people off so badly. You could let me know in the comments. And yeah, guys. All right. Well, I just thought I would fill y'all in on my evening. I've been doing a lot more of that lately, just like filling you in on what's going on with me. And I hope you're enjoying it. Feel free to follow me on Facebook or Instagram. My Instagram handle is my name backwards, Bergeson Ryan. And you can find me on Facebook by just searching my name. As always, I love you guys. Feel free to like or share this. And